Hey, friendos, what is going on? Steve here. Welcome back to Ask WrestleJuice. That is not the right screen. Neither is that. This is the right screen because it says Ask WrestleJuice right there. Let's go ahead and dive into it because you guys left a bunch of great questions and we're doing this live. So if you have any questions in the chat, feel free to drop a super chat or you just ask. I don't know. Maybe I'll just answer it. First up from, I believe this one was from Quote the Raven. Here it is. From Quote the Raven 79. Says, if MJF goes to WWE, which I don't think he will, according to Quote the Raven, do you think he'll be hindered? He won't be able to deliver the promos he's known to cut, and I doubt he'll have the limited wrestling schedule he's had. So he has had a very limited wrestling schedule. If he goes to WWE, Quote the Raven says, I don't think he's going to go. I don't know if he's going to go or not. I think so. One of my conspiracy theories, I don't know, months and months ago was when he came back after doing the job to Wardlow. He came back with the devil mask and all that. It was my theory that he had signed an extension. I don't know I don't know why I have these in. I don't know that that's the case anymore. I kind of think that it's legit that his contract's going to come up. And then he'll make a decision then. I mean, I don't know if he knows how much the WWE would be willing to offer him. And I feel like they'd be willing to offer him a lot. So I think it's sort of up in the air as to whether or not he's going to go. I could be completely wrong about that, but I feel like it's probably up in the air. As far as would it work? I feel like it really would. I do. I think that MJF, regardless of specifically what he says in his promos, I'll give you an example. This past Wednesday on Dynamite, he talked about mental health issues and trust issues. Nothing that he said in that promo wouldn't be able to be used in WWE. I think he's in phenomenal shape. He's got himself like super jacked these days. He's in what I call WWE shape, which I probably shouldn't. But, I feel like he would totally work in WWE. I mean, look, all he'd have to do is stop saying shit. And then maybe he'd have to dial back sort of, because like the WWE wrestlers, they also do like stuff away from like the in-ring stuff. Like, I don't know, some of them do Make-A-Wish, but usually those are the good guys. He'd have to like chill out a little bit on, like, he's been caught on camera, like, giving mad shit to, like, fans on the, waiting outside the arena and stuff like that. He'd have to dial that behavior down. He couldn't do the whole living the gimmick thing outside, but he could probably even tone that down. If given the right amount of money, the guy will do whatever they ask him to do. So I feel like, and as far as limited schedule is concerned, like, Roman Reigns has a super limited schedule right now. So it's exclusively about leverage. How much does WWE or how much will WWE want him versus how much versus what AEW wants? And he'll be able to get probably what he wants from one of the companies, whether it's money, a lighter schedule, both those things, some amount of creative control. I mean, I feel like, and on top of that, like, Cody's like a friend of his. So I'm sure if he needs a mentor when it comes to like negotiating the contract, look, he's not going to be doing it. It's going to be his agent. I feel like he'll probably be able to get that done. I honestly think it'd be really smart of him to jump to WWE because he's still incredibly young. He takes good care of himself because he doesn't wrestle all that often. Look, if you can manage to get yourself in a situation where you're wrestling on a very limited schedule, why wouldn't you take that? Whether it's good or not for the company, why wouldn't you as a wrestler take that? If they said, hey, Cody wanted to wrestle a lot. He's got the old school mentality. But MJF does seem to be the kind of guy who's like, hey, I just want to wrestle, I want to wrestle a much more limited schedule and make it that much more of a big deal when I do wrestle. But the bottom line is the guy has charisma. He's got tons of charisma. Like, he cuts a promo in the camera, and a lot of the times he can be, look, I know sometimes he phones it in and he goes for the low-hanging fruit, but even then, he's still fairly compelling when he's talking to the camera. He is one of the few guys who you'll listen to whatever he has to say, whether it's compelling or not. So I think he would be successful in WWE. I totally think it would work. I think he's unique. I think that he has a much better chance than a guy like, for example, Hangman Page, who like I see constantly people saying, yeah, he doesn't really resonate with me. His character doesn't do a lot for me. I personally love Hangman Page. I think he's terrific, but his style of promo, for example, isn't really the most compelling thing in the world. I think MJF would be a top guy in WWE. I really do believe that. Let's see here. Next, Andrew Sharp says, after watching and seeing the reaction to the Bash of the Beach Dark Side of the Ring episode, obviously his recent work and even the Wrestle Talk interview with Luke, has Jeff Jarrett been one of the biggest 180s in history in terms of perspective and appreciation? Somebody else also asked me about Jeff Jarrett and sort of, turning and finding appreciation with Jeff Jarrett. Here it is. John Davies says, hey, Steve, what's your biggest reverse Jeff Jarrett? Meaning a wrestler you once loved, but you can't stand. Oh, so that's the opposite question. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's talk about actual Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, I think that for me, that's been the biggest turnaround, because back when he was active as like a full-time wrestler in the late 90s, I did not care for him at all. I also had like a lack of proper historical context with Jeff Jarrett. I probably would have been maybe a bit more willing to buy into him if I knew that, his family was heavily in the business. And of course, I think a lot of what he did from a business perspective in TNA, where he, really pushed the Knockouts division, where he really pushed for the X Division championship, the innovative wrestling and stuff. I've become a much bigger fan of Jeff Jarrett for what he's done for the business than what he's done on camera, but I really appreciate what he does on camera now, and kind of one feeds into the other. So yeah, I think for a lot of people too, but I'll be honest with you, the credit that I give is to the Deadlock podcast, because it was like them tweeting out like clips of Jarrett in some of the funnier stuff from TNA that I was like, okay, wait a second, maybe I totally missed something. So I give them a lot of appreciation for that. I love those guys. I think they're absolutely great. But yeah. And then as far as a reverse Jeff Jarrett, a guy that I used to love, and then I got lukewarm on, I guess sort of for the obvious reasons, Hulk Hogan. I was like, during the NWO days, I always appreciated that Hogan, like the idea of the NWO, like Hall and Nash, were just trying to be like, hey, we're just cool bad guys. And Hogan was this like leathery, over the top, couldn't help but do the same mannerisms as Hulkamania, but now he's supposed to be a bad guy. I liked, like, it was ironically funny to me that he was like that. And then it just sort of made me laugh at how much power he had behind the scenes. And that stuff always makes me laugh because I find it entertaining. But then, when all the stuff about him, it is kind of a reverse Jeff Jarrett, because when I learned about Jeff Jarrett and what he had done for the industry, that really turned me on to the wrestler himself. And with Hogan, it was more, I really appreciated what he did what he did as an entertainer, as a character. But then when you find out what he does outside the ring, it's like, not so much. I watched the first part of the Bash of the Beach Dark Side. I'm going to watch the rest of it probably today. And yeah, it's just more of an illustration that like he's kind of just full of shit. Joel the Mex here has a super chat, says, do you think it's time for another Evolution Premium Live event? Also, you and Larson should try to name all the Intercontinental Champions in your next quiz video. Did we do that already? We didn't do that already. That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Maybe we'll do that one. Time for another Evolution. It's always time for another Evolution Premium Live event. That was whenever it dropped, 2019, I think it was. That was like one of my favorite pay-per-views that year. I thought it was a really good one. Let's move on. Shavon says, could Gunther be argued as being the best big man wrestler today? He's dominant in all of his matches, but his selling during hope spots is unmatched. He can have great matches with anyone and seems willing to work with anyone too. For my money, he's the perfect final boss wrestler, even over Brock Lesnar. Maybe at their peaks, there might have been more of a debate. I love Gunther, and I hope they continue to use him the way they've been using him, because I think he's outstanding. I just really love that this guy who can put on absolutely phenomenal matches, who's gotten himself into really phenomenal shape, is not really the kind of promo that I think Vince McMahon would appreciate. I feel like Triple H has maybe made Vince seen the light. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Vince sees the kind of shape that he's gotten into. He's like, man, God damn it, pal. This guy's put in the work. Because I know Vince still probably has some degree of influence, although right now, probably not. But no, I just appreciate that this guy really came up the way he did. And he is where he's at right now with his work being appreciated, because I think he is one of the best. Let's see here. Next up, Will says, if Randy Orton comes back, do you think he'll do a sort of retirement tour, and who would you like to see him wrestle? If he comes back, I hope that he's got like a whole team of doctors that totally says, yeah, no, you'll be fine. You'll be great. Everything will be okay. Who would I like to see him wrestle? I don't know. He should go to AEW. How about that? No, I don't know. I don't know. New names, I guess. A Cody feud would be good, like a Cody feud. But then people want to cheer Randy, so I don't know about that. Even if Randy's a super bad guy, I don't know. That'd be a good idea. So if Randy Orton comes back, I don't know. Yeah, you know what? Randy versus the Tribal Chief. How about that? Give him one last shot at that title, and then he needs to go. I don't like, if his neck is all messed up, I don't want him coming back. Same with Big E, to be honest with you. I saw an interview where Big E was like, hey, talking about me maybe doing commentary. I'm like, fuck, I wish. I think that'd be so amazing. That would be so awesome to have Big E do commentary. That'd be great. But if there's any risk that dude could hurt himself, in a major way, I just be nervous the entire time watching it. Bucket Dipper says, what's a dream match that you think only you would be excited to see? This one's easy. The Enforcer's two favorites, Rob Shit versus Heavy Metal. That's my dream match right there. DJ Luke D says, is there any match you wish to have seen / experienced live in the building? He says, for me, it's Brock beating the Streak. I cannot imagine the gasp and the disbelief that night. Yeah, man. Along those same lines, Bruno Sammartino, when he lost his championship to, who is it, like Koloff? Who did he lose his champ? I forget who it was. Whenever Bruno lost his first championship after 8 years of having it. Whoa, what would that be like? My goodness gracious. Bobby Mincy says, what about Dalton Castle in WWE? I love Dalton Castle. I love him. I think he's absolutely great. And I think he was close, like the rumor back in like 2018 is that he was close to signing in NXT, and then he got injured a bunch, and so that didn't happen. But, man, yeah, Dalton Castle, the packaging on Dalton Castle is absolutely next level. It really is. Henry T says, if Big E returned at the Rumble, do you think he'd get a bigger pop than Edge did? It'd be a more sustained pop. That's my guess. I think it would be like everything stops while everybody gets really emotional. It might be a more emotional pop. But in terms of sheer volume, it's hard to beat that Edge one. Let's see here. Chris Garrick, the note taker for our Raw reviews, says, will there be a response from AEW and WWE in terms of how they book their women? Will there be a knee-jerk reaction or actually present something meaningful? I don't think you can count on AEW to give a shit about that. It wouldn't shock me to see WWE put Rhea on SummerSlam in some way, shape, or form. That wouldn't shock me. I mean, obviously, Judgment Day is going to be out there. Maybe they'll have her do something, maybe a bit more than just distract a referee. Maybe as a response to the obvious, people being upset about that. AEW ain't gonna do shit about nothing. It's Aaron says, with a lot of young lions / newer wrestlers being American in New Japan, how do you feel about how it's influencing the current product, incorporating more of a Western style than being more of a traditional New Japan style? I don't know. I think it's kind of too early to tell, right? Like newer wrestlers and young lions. I feel like that's something that's going to be more extrapolated over time. We'll find more information about that. We'll see if that's going to influence things. But a lot of the younger guys they're pushing right now are not Japanese. A lot of them are, but there's a couple that they're not, the newer guys that are in Bullet Club. But I don't know. Well, it's sort of a we'll see sort of thing. I get the feeling that those wrestlers that are in there are going to be more influenced by being part of the LA dojo and being trained by guys like Shibata. I don't know if he's doing much there now, but you know what I mean. Let's see here. Next up, user OC7 says some very popular babyface champions like Hangman Page and Kofi Kingston are seen as having had lackluster championship reigns, even though the chase and the win was amazing, and more dominant babyface champions like Cena and pre-Tribal Chief considered boring or repetitive. How exactly should a long babyface championship reign be booked to stay interesting? I mean, there's a reason the phrase "the money is in the chase" is so common in pro wrestling, because people want to see somebody on the journey towards accomplishing a goal. Now, once they accomplish a goal, what happens next? Look at what they did back in the Attitude Era with Steve Austin. After, 3 months of being champion and McMahon constantly pushing him to get that title off him, they had Kane take it off him for like a day. That's not a great example because he got it back that the next day. So I don't know. I don't know if like you can do like a super long, like when's the last time somebody had a compelling long babyface championship reign? Like who's even done that? I don't know. You just got to keep throwing obstacles at them. You know, you got to get them desperate to hold on to it, I guess. I don't know. Byron Cutler says, so is this a live reaction to SmackDown? No, it's not for 45 minutes, and this will be wrapped up in about 10. Claus Techno brings up, what are your thoughts about all this situation regarding Lufisto and the cliques in the AEW locker room? I think it's a mess. I think it's an absolute mess. I don't know, man. Like, look, I'm not there. I don't know what's going on back there. I feel like they're putting... Look, I understand this person who was there for a half a second, a year and a half ago, or a year ago, it was like a year and some months ago, talked about her negative experience in AEW. And now today, like exactly the exact same time, a bunch of people in AEW used all their energy to attack her on Twitter, right? Why they're not attacking their boss I do know why they're not attacking their boss, because he's their boss. But it's like, why not put the energy that you're using to attack this person into trying to get more time on the programming for the women's division? That's my thing, is like, you guys are cool having at the Blood and Guts show a 1 minute and 9 second match. You're cool with that. You're cool with, having 10 minutes out of an 88-minute program devoted to your division. You're cool with that. You're cool with sitting backstage, not doing shit on your show. Like, stand up for the women's division. Do that. Put your energy into that. But then I'm not there. Maybe they're cool with it. If they're cool with it, then good for them. Deep Voice Dude says, has the existence of AEW made WWE crowds less smarky / knowledgeable about wrestling outside of the WWE bubble? For example, 7 years ago, AJ Styles got a pretty great reaction debuting in WWE. If that happened today, I'm not sure he'd get a reaction at all. The type of wrestling fan who knows or cares about wrestling outside of WWE does not attend WWE events. I disagree with that. I don't think that's true. I disagree with the premise. Is the idea like, so I think WWE sort of lost the crowd that's huge, heavy into AEW. They had lost them already. I think maybe that crew had sort of focused more on NXT. But I think that the crowd in WWE these days would pop for Kenny and the Young Bucks just as well as they would have popped 7 years ago. Wyatt says, hey, Steve, you ever thought about bringing back Friendo Workshop? I just binged the whole playlist. Oh, man. I haven't. No. I've not thought about going back to it. So for those who don't know, and I'm looking around now for a specific reason. For those who don't know, I did a series here on the channel called Friendo Workshop, where I would do like artwork, and I would do it on my iPad, and then you could speed it. You could take the video of you doing the artwork and you could speed it up. And then, so no, I haven't really thought about going back to that, because this is primarily a wrestling channel. And like with YouTube, you really need to stick to like sort of like a specific thing. And I just don't know what kind of reaction that would have. But that's really cool that you just binge the whole playlist. That's neat. I appreciate that. I mean, if you guys want some of my artwork, you can get it at mfshophere.com. You just go to mfshophere.com, and I have some of my comic books there. Back in the day, like literally 20 years ago, I used to publish comic books. So you guys should check that out. Let's see here. Let's see. Deep Voice Dude also says, is it fair to say there will never be a bigger or equally big AEW to WWE defection as Cody Rhodes in 2022? That's fair to say. He was the first big one. He was a huge one. If he beats Roman, I don't know if anybody's going to beat that. Anthony says, I'll ask my question again because it was missed last time. If they introduce a mid-card women's championship, who should be the inaugural winner of that championship? Jeez, there's a lot of people that could claim that, man. Names that stand out. Assuming she doesn't cash in successfully, then like an Io Sky would be great for that title. Bayley would be an awesome name for that title, given where she is now. I mean, Raquel could be a good name for that title. Liv would be a good name for that title. Chelsea and Sonya, either of them would be good. They like WWE has such a great Shayna should be going for the top title. They have such a stacked women's division that I think that there's like, I don't know, you can list 10 names that would be great for that. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Roy asks, in reality, how long will it be until a promotion has a match on the space station or in one of the numerous billionaires' space exploration rockets? Within 30 years. I think 20 is too short a time, but maybe 30. Maybe 30. Maybe. Let's see here. Johnny Burney says, out of these four, which promotion is booking their women's division best? The answer is Impact. It's going to be Impact. He's a WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor. It's Impact. Scott D'Amore does a wonderful job sort of booking all the divisions with the same amount of inspiration, the same amount of time spent on television, matches per show. He gets every division sort of equity, and I really appreciate that, or equality. I appreciate that. Marvell asks, here's two questions here. One from both from Marvell. Says, who are your favorite pro wrestling video game characters? So, again, I'll bring this up. In my favorite wrestling video game, which is WCW NWO World Tour, Hulk Hogan had like the most devastating clothesline, his lariat. So we would use that a lot. We would use that so much. We would have little tournaments where I would be a Hogan and Larson would be a Hogan, or Jeff would be a Hogan. And then we try to see who could knock the other person out quickest. And nobody else had the power of Hulkamania. So sadly, and I know it's terrible, but I'm going to say it's Hulk Hogan in that video game. And then Marvell also says, what is the official name of WrestleJuice fans? He said, I saw someone say juice heads. I kind of like juicer. That probably sounds terrible. I don't. How about squirters? Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. No, I don't know. You guys can choose that one. Go ahead and look. I mean, like, call you guys friendos. You all part of the friendo umbrella. But if it's like a WrestleJuice thing specifically, yeah, let's go. Oh, that's terrible. I shouldn't say that. Squirter, that's the one. Anyways, I'm out of here. That's gonna do it. That's gonna do it. Malachi actually does say, would you or Larson be interested in doing a review of the new Cody doc? Maybe, we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of old now. It's been out for like a week. So I need to watch the rest of it. I've only watched like the first 10 minutes. I'm going to wait till I can sit down and pop it on the big screen. So anyways, that's going to do it. Thanks everybody for hanging. I appreciate it. Thanks for the super chats. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Of course, we're doing the big SummerSlam watch along over at the Going in Raw YouTube channel and the Steven Larson Twitch channel. And then right afterwards, we'll be doing our our review. And then at some point I'll be doing my grading everything related to SummerSlam video here for WrestleJuice. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.